A memorial set up on a bike path in Manhattan where a man killed 8 people with a truck last week. President Trump said the suspect should be put to death. Hiroko, MasuikeThe, New York Times, Washington. President Trump's labeling of Sunday's church shooting in Texas as a mental health problem reflected a broad pattern in his responses to deadly mass attacks in the United States. In some cases, Mr. Trump has aggressively denounced radical Islamic terrorism and demanded a clampdown on immigration. But in others, he has lamented the inevitability of tragedy and focused on the attacker's psychological problems. This isn't a gun situation, the president said at a news conference in Tokyo on Monday. This is a mental health problem at the highest level. It's a very, very sad event. Here's a look back at what Mr. Trump has said in the wake of attacks since he announced his candidacy in 2015. October 31, 2017, Manhattan. A pickup truck barreled down a bike lane along the Hudson River, killing 8. The driver, the police said, arrived in the United States from Uzbekistan in 2010. Hours after the attack, Mr. Trump said he ordered the Department of Homeland Security to step up our already extreme vetting program. A day later, Mr. Trump revealed that the attacker had arrived through the diversity visa lottery. He also called for the death penalty for the man accused of carrying out the attack, Seo Sapov, whom he described as a terrorist and an animal. October 1, 2017, Las Vegas. Mr. Trump called one of the deadliest mass shootings in the United States an act of pure evil the morning after a gunman opened fire at a country concert, killing 58 and wounding hundreds. Asked during an October 3 news conference whether the attacker should have been able to amass such a large collection of guns, which he took to his hotel room, Mr. Trump said that debate should occur at a later time and called the shooter a sick and demented person. July 7, 2016, Dallas. An Afghan war veteran armed with an assault-style rifle killed 5 police officers in an ambush that lasted hours. The attacker, an African-American, hoped to gun down white officers and obviously had some delusion, the police chief said. Mr. Trump called the attack a coordinated, premeditated assault on the men and women who keep us safe. June 12, 2016, Orlando, FLA. After pledging allegiance to the Islamic State and a call to the police, a gunman opened fire on a gay nightclub, killing 49 people before being killed in a shootout with the police. The gunman was born in New York to Afghan parents and was twice investigated by the FBI for possible extremist ties. That day, Mr. Trump reiterated his call for an immigration ban on Muslims and said he appreciated the congrats for being right on radical Islamic terrorism and called for toughness, vigilance. He then delivered a forceful speech to address what he called the growing threat of terrorism inside of our borders. December 2, 2015, San Bernardino, Calif. Before investigators declared the shooting of 14 people by a married couple a terrorist attack, Mr. Trump labeled it radical Islamic terrorism and added, I mean, you look at the names, you look at what's happened. You tell me. 5 days after the shooting, he called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country. November 27, 2015, Colorado Springs. 3 people were killed at a Planned Parenthood center when a gunman opened fire with an assault weapon. The gunman was declared unfit to stand trial in May 2016. Mr. Trump said he had seen tremendous dislike for Planned Parenthood at his rallies and called the attacker an extremist and mentally disturbed person in an NBC interview on November 29. October 1, 2015, Roseburg, or 10 people were killed by a 26-year-old gunman at Umpqua Community College. After offering his condolences on Twitter, Mr. Trump suggested shootings were not always preventable in an October 2 interview on MSNBC. You're always going to have problems, he said. I mean, we have millions and millions of people, we have millions of sick people all over the world. He added even if you did great mental health programs, people are going to slip through the cracks. At a campaign rally a day later, Mr. Trump questioned the need for gun-free zones and said that if you had a couple of teachers with guns in that room, you would have been a hell of a lot better off. August 26, 2015, Roanoke, VA. A day after a fired television reporter shot and killed 2 journalists during a live broadcast in Virginia, Mr. Trump rejected calls for tougher gun control and called the shooter a very sick man in an interview with CNN. This isn't a gun problem, he said. This is a mental problem. July 16, 2015, Chattanooga, 10. A gunman who was born in Kuwait but went to high school and college in Chattanooga attacked 2 military sites, killing 4 Marines before he was fatally shot by the police. He struggled with mental illness and drug abuse before his rampage, and was deeply critical of American policy in the Middle East. The night of the attack, Mr. Trump called for the end of gun-free zones in an interview with Bill O'Reilly of Fox News and criticized President Barack Obama for not using the phrase Islamic terrorism. "It seems so sad that a whole group of people have to be blamed. But it does seem to be happening a lot," Mr. Trump said. June 17, 2015, Charleston, South Carolina. Mr. Trump, who declared his candidacy on June 16, offered his condolences on Twitter a day after Dylan's roof shot and killed 9 people in a historic black church. He later called people's response to the shooting one of the more beautiful things I've seen in my life.